everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do another weekly wrap up, but I also have a little book haul for you, and also I found some amazing trades that I did, shall we say. So I hope that you stick around for this whole video because there's quite a lot of things that are going on here, and I think that you'll really like it. But remember to like the video, share the video, subscribe, make sure that you stick around for all of my weekly videos for at least the next 2 months that'll be posting on Saturday. Also in the description box below, you'll find my Patreon link, my Pango Books account, and also my Instagram and Goodreads if you'd like to follow me on there. So let's get into, I'm going to do the weekly wrap up first about the books that I have read and currently reading, because this was the final week, guys. So today was the last day that I get to have a lunch that, you know, is not going to be crazy. So for the next 7 weeks, it is going to be 9, 10, 11-hour days. No breaks or lunches or anything. So let's all hope that mid-December gets here rather quickly, because I want to get back into reading a lot of books. I have a feeling that things are going to start slowing down on the book reading front, so I hope that you guys can all just send me some good vibes, leave me some comments below and everything. So let's get into what I read this week. So I did finish up book 4 and 5 of the Air Awakens series. Now, I devoured this entire series. Like I had said in my previous video, I had purchased the entire set, books 1 through 5, on Audible. And so it was like a 60-hour audio format because it had all 5 books in there. And it would just like finish book 1 and go straight to book 2, you know, and so forth. And I just couldn't stop listening to it at work. I loved it. I loved the world. I loved the characters. I loved how the love interest, of course, was introduced in book 1 and the romance was introduced. However, what I really liked about it was you get to see how these characters grow along the way, the challenges that they face, the things, the obstacles, and the ways that they're being pulled apart and put together. And it just made for the romance to be so believable. I don't like whenever my romance and my fantasies are very easy, I guess, where, you know, you find out who the love interest is, whether it's the first guy or the second guy, but as they go along, there's really not a lot of tension between them. You know, you'll get a little bit like of miscommunication trope or, you know, things like that, but these characters went through it. I mean, you have our main girl. She is an air wielder. I don't even know. And she's the only one. And so she's wanted by the king, but yet, you know, the West wants her, and then this other people want her because she can wield crystals and things like that. So overall, I think I gave every book 4 stars, and then the last book, which was called Crystal Crowned, I actually gave 5 stars too, because I really like how the author wrapped up this story. I really like how she made it to where you felt for every single character, the deaths that you have, the, you know, joys that you have, just everything along the way. And our male main character, who is the love interest, he really like progresses throughout this series. Like, he starts out like kind of like a privileged crowned prince type of thing, but by the end of the series, he's like a man, right? He's a king. He is somebody who is making decisions. He's doing all these things, but he also listens to our female main character, the love interest. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Overall, this was great world building, a great plot. It had wonderful side characters, a found family aspect. You have the love interest who, you know, is royalty, and of course the female main character, she comes from like just a common household. She's not nobility or anything, but you see her rise to every occasion. You see her confidence be boosted and boosted no matter what she goes through. I feel like the pacing was amazing. So overall, I would give this entire series a 4.5 because there were some aspects that were kind of lacking. I would have liked the author to expand on certain plots and certain, scenes that we were in. But for the most part, I feel like it was very well fleshed out. I feel like the pacing was wonderful. I feel like, things were very believable. Like, I know it's in a fantastical world and you have magic and you have all of these things, but everything seemed, in the core, something real that you could go through, of course not in a fantasy setting, but in real life, the choices that you make, the friends that you make along the way, just different things like that. It all seemed very believable. So I was so happy that I read the series. I am sad that I got rid of my special edition set because I was like, I'm never going to read this. And now I wish that I hadn't, and I'm not going to pay the, resellers prices because I know what I sold mine for, and I think they're going for a little bit more than that, and I'm just not going to pay that. So it's a loss, but at the same time, that's okay. I enjoyed it. Even though I gave the whole series a 4.5, I really don't think that I would ever reread it. I don't really think that I would ever go back to this world for anything. Not that it was terrible, not that it doesn't have reread value in it, but for me, I just think that I would dive into other worlds before I did this one again. So I'm going to love it for the time that I had it and, be done with it. So there was the Air Awakens series. Let me know below if you have read it, what your thoughts on it were, because I would really like to know. So there's that. Next, let's talk about the next book that I picked up, which was Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This book launched on the 10th of October, which I believe was this past Tuesday. I had pre-ordered the Audible book of it so I could listen to it at work. I do not have a physical copy. I didn't make it to the Illumicrate sale or anything like that, so I didn't have a physical book. I'm kind of happy I didn't because I really thought going into this I was going to love it because I had heard that it was like an epic fantasy, it was adult, and I really love those type of books. This was such a disappointment, you guys. So disappointed. I think I rated it 1 star because Tuesday and Wednesday, I battled with myself on if I was going to DNF it or if I wasn't going to DNF it. Like, I had these moments during the day while I was working where in my mind I would pause the book and I'm like, should I DNF this? Should I not? I even posted in one of my Facebook groups. I was like, has anybody read Swordcatcher? What are your thoughts on it? Here's how I feel. Should I DNF it? Should I keep going? Give me your thoughts and opinions. And it was a very resounding, go ahead and DNF because there were quite a few people that actually DNF'd the book as well. Now, I trudged through, I listened, I, tried to get into the story as much as I could. It was the last, 2 chapters that caught my interest and had me second guessing if I wanted to continue on with the series. But after reflecting upon it after a few days, I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to get a physical book of this. I'm not going to continue on with it. I'm just going to wash my hands of it because I did give it 1 star. This book did not keep my interest. You are following 2 different characters that come from 2 different sides of the spectrum. You have our male main character who was basically taken from an orphanage. He's going to be a body double to the crowned prince. And he was like, I think 10 when that happened. And so he grows up his whole life learning royal etiquette, training with the sword, all of these things. So he can be a stand-in at these, big events where, the crowned prince could be assassinated. So he has to join in the revelry and do the dancings and eat like he's a crowned prince and all this stuff. Now, granted, in hindsight, that's a great thing for him because he was an orphan and now he's eating and living the life of luxury. Granted, if, someone wants to assassinate the crown prince, you're going to die for it. But, I guess in this type of setting, he could have had it worse, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. And then our female main character, I could not stand. And she, of course, grows up kind of poorly or whatever, but she wants to make it to, I think, the king, and I don't even know, you guys. It was such a jumbled mess because it was like a very dense, slow, political epic fantasy. I love very slow, dense, political epic fantasies. The Bloodgrace series, hello? A lot of people quit reading after book 1 or 2 because it's just so slow. There are so many politics, so much of he said this, she did that, yada yada. I love it. I love those type of books. I don't know if it's that I chose to listen to it on audio or if I should have read it physically. I don't know if that may have kind of swayed my thought and perception of the book because the narrators in the audiobook don't have any emotion to them. They don't, they're so boring and monotoned. And I don't know if that is because, our author wrote it that way, so then that's how they're portraying it, or if that's just how they are as narrators. I don't know, but I could not get into the story. There were times that I was working or walking, exercising, or, whatever, doing my diamond paintings and stuff, where I just wasn't listening. Like, I'm off in my own brain thinking about what I need to do to get ready for my busy time, or, what book do I want to read next, or anything else other than what is going on in my ear. And I would have to force myself back into the story and force myself back into the story. So I did miss, quite a few, holes in the story. I really did. And I'm not going to lie to you about that. And, I've never, no matter how bad the book is, I've actually never had that big of a problem. Maybe, once every 10 books, I may have a moment where a couple minutes or whatever I'm taken out of my story because of whatever's on my mind for personal reasons. But I would always rewind and listen to it and, be back in the story. I never had that problem before. And this book, huge problem. So, I don't know, guys. 1 star. I was so disappointed. I wanted to love this book so much. I wanted to. It's Cassandra Clare, right? Like the iconic, author of the Mortal Instruments series, the Infernal Devices series, Dark Artifices, different things like that. I wanted it, but it just didn't deliver for me. And that's a bummer. It really is. I'm happy that I listened to it and I'm happy that I got through the story because now whenever I hear spoilers or I see other booktubers that I enjoy watching talk about it, I'm not going to be like, I wish I would have read it. Or I wish I would have continued. Or I wish I would have DNF'd it. Like, I trudged through, you guys. I did. I made it all the way through. I do think that at the very end it does pick up and it does make you want to read the next book that's going to be coming out. However, if I had such a hard time with book 1, like this hard of a time, I'm not going to put myself through book 2. I can't do that. I understand that sometimes in a duology or a trilogy, the first book, it takes a while to get into the world, get immersed with the characters and such. And then, by the time the last 50% or 40% of the book, it picks up and you want the next book and it's just even better. This book, it was like the last 2 chapters. So I hope everybody else has enjoyed it. So let me know below, have you read Swordcatcher? What are your thoughts on it? Do you agree or not agree with me? Because I really like to hear other people's opinions about books, especially if I don't like them, come at me and tell me you thought it was a 5-star rating. Tell me why. Like, did I miss something in those times that I was daydreaming? You know, did I miss a big plot point? I mean, definitely tell me, because I need to know. So, the last book that I started was finally getting to my TBR. I did put together a TBR cart, and it has all those books that I showed you that I wanted to read through the end of the year, because I'm going to be mood reading, right? Like, I'm just going to be like, what am I in the mood for, and grab it and go. Because with my busy time, I'm not going to have time to be like, okay, I'm going to read this book and this book this week and stuff. I'm not going to have that time. So I just want to pick from that cart. I love it. So I put that together last weekend. I was pretty proud of myself. So the last book that I did start was Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Now oh my gosh, you guys, I'm listening to it on audio. Okay. Let's see what chapter I'm on. I'm on chapter 48. I do know that. And we're going to say out of this book, I think I'm on page 340, something like that, 340 actually exactly. How did I get that right? And, that's pretty far into the book. I think this is a 506 page book. So I only have like 166 more pages to go. Love this book. Of course, I found out about Carissa Broadbent whenever I read the Crowns of Nyaxia duology, and this one is following, I'm terrible with names, Tasana, and her village is ransacked or whatever, so she ends up offering herself up instead of, them taking her mother or anybody else from the community. So she is taken as a slave, and she is considered like a defect, because she is this type of, I don't even know what she is. She is something, but she has like magic and different things like that. I do know that, but I just can't remember what the name is that she's called. But they basically said she's a defect because she has one green eye, I think, and one white eye. She's not like, I guess, full, whatever this is. She has white hair. But anyway, so she has magic, and she can, conjure butterflies, and she performs and things like that. So she ends up finding out how much her freedom will cost her. And the guy that owns her says 1,000 gold. Now, 1,000 gold is not easy to come by, but Tasana doesn't want to sell her body for that. She wants to just make it by performing and entertaining and just making people laugh and have a good time, which I love that about our girl, which we do find out that she did sleep with one of her clients for 100 gold, I believe, but she never wanted to do it again because she felt like awful about it and icky about it. So, girl, I love you. You're trying to do what you can do, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with her selling her body if that's what she decided to do. But you know what? If she has morals where she doesn't want to do that, I'll stand by her as well. So, Tasana finally gets her 1,000 gold, actually 1,002, and she gets her last 5 gold pieces, I believe, from this guy who is from the orders, right? She thinks that he's, someone big in the orders, which is across the sea, I guess. And so she wants to make it there, and she wants to learn about her magic, learn about her heritage and things like that. So she goes to buy her freedom, and the guy that owns her says, oh, you hoard yourself out, you did this, you did that kind of thing, and he starts whipping her, like just shredding her back. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but anyway, she ends up on her way to the orders, and the orders are kind of not what she thought, right? And she finds out that they want her to train for like 8 years before they'll even like help her go back and free the slaves and all of this. Well, they bring in, his name is very long, Max Antarius, but you call him Max throughout here, thank goodness. And he is part of the orders, but he doesn't like be with the orders. He just does what they tell him to. So now he is tasked to train her, and the story goes from there. We already know, right? He's going to be the love interest. I mean, you know, any fantasy romance novel you've ever read, you can see that. But I'm really happy that in book 1, there really wasn't any romance. There was none, right? No spicy scenes, no kissing, no nothing. It was just straight fantasy. It was, you know, world building. It was learning the characters, watching her discover more of her magic, learning who Max is, who the orders are, who the guy was, you know, that gave her the last 5 gold pieces. So I'm so happy. It's going to be a slow burn because you could tell at the very end of this that things were starting to change with Max and Tasana's relationship. So I can't wait to, well, actually I can't even say at the end of it. So let's back up. Hold on. I'm only 340 pages in. I'm talking to you like I've already finished this, and I haven't. I still have 166 pages. So I guess, I don't know if there's spice in here. I don't know if there's kissing. But at the end of what I just listened to on audio, there hasn't been any. And you can tell that the romance is starting to get there. Not necessarily where they both are staring at each other and they're realizing. It's actually like their inner monologues where, you know, he's trying to save her, she's trying to save him, but they're both not communicating it to each other type of thing. So I guess we'll see how the last 166 pages go. There might be romance, there might be kissing, there might be spicy time. I don't know. As of right now, it's just an epic fantasy and I'm devouring it. Love it. So if it keeps going and being really good, I can't wait to go on to the second book, which is Children of Fallen Gods, I think, is the second one. But you guys, I can't start the second one because I have a whole TBR cart and that one is not on here. So what am I doing to myself? I guess I'll just, you know, have to wait until I get done with my TBR cart to continue. Now I'm sad. So those are all the books that I have read or that I have started this week. Let me know, like I've said below. Have you read the Air Awakened series? Have you read Swordcatcher? Have you read Daughter of No Worlds or the entire, what is it called? War of Lost Hearts trilogy? Let me know. I like to know your thoughts. I like to hear your opinions, what you thought of them, what your star rating was. You can also go to my Instagram below if you'd like, and you can always shoot me a message on there if you'd like to and not leave a comment. However you feel comfortable, but also make sure that you are following me on Instagram because I have been posting quite a few posts out there asking people for fantasy romance recommendations or, you know, what are your favorite tropes? What are your most hated tropes? Different things like that. And I just want to get more people engaged. Let's start talking. Come to me on Patreon. Let's have some Patreon exclusive things going on. So let's talk about my book haul now. So the two things that I was super excited for, okay? So you know that you can't buy ARCs from other people. Like, we all know that. And there are people out there that do try to profit off the ARCs that they get, which I can't stand people that do that. You should not. However, you're supposed to, you know, just trade either other ARCs, special editions, whatever the person is looking for. And someone posted in one of my Facebook groups all of these ARCs that they had. And most of them, they were looking for just like, you know, people to buy something off their Amazon wish list that would be sent to them, and then they would send them the ARC. But there were 2 of them, actually 3 of them, but I got 2 out of the 3, that they were saying that they are not doing the Amazon wish list and that they only will trade for other specific ARCs or special editions. So I got on that train very fast and was messaging them, and I got first in line for these 2, and I sent over like special editions that I pulled off of my shelf that I was never gonna sell in hopes to get this ARC. And I got it, and to be honest with you, for a steal. Now, I can't say for a steal because people have different criteria, right? I've seen this one arc go for another arc that is like valued at like $500 or $600. And then I got it with a special edition that came out of one of my book boxes that's really only selling for like $30 or $35. However, that may be what they specifically wanted, and that might be worth $500 or $600 to them. So I can't say that it was a steal, but in my eyes, I think it was a steal. So I only had to trade 2 special editions, and they were 2 special editions that I had no intentions of reading anyway. I was going to sell them. Great. So the one that doesn't really go for crazy amount of money, but I wanted to get it anyway, was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is the arc. Of course, you know, I've already read this book. This whole series is complete, I believe. So it's not anything special, but to me it's special because I absolutely loved the first book. So I got the arc of it that I can put on there, but this is the puppy that is going for so much hype right now all over Facebook about trading and stuff. Like, these people are trading this book for special editions that I couldn't even afford. So all I know is I'm happy. That's Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This book is not even out yet. It comes out, it just says November 2023, which is just right around the corner. But I think it's like November 7th, November 10th. Pretty early on in November. But I've already, you know, been dipping into reading this a little bit. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm loving it. I'm a big Ali Hazelwood fan. This arc is, I'm telling you, it is causing a pandemic. Not as much as the Fourth Wing arcs, okay? That is mass hysteria right now. But this is, you know, kind of a close, you know, top 5. I know Bride by Ali Hazelwood that comes out, I think, February or March of next year is going for way more than this, but I was happy to snag this, you guys. So happy. So I got that. I just wanted to show you the 2 arcs that I ended up trading for. I was super excited for that. So they are going to be loved and cherished. And then let's get into the rest of it. So I am part of a Facebook group called the Bookaholics Outlet. And there's like thousands of people on there, like a ridiculous amount. And this owner is so wonderful. I don't know how they acquire so many books. They maybe go to, I think there's like warehouses and stuff where you can buy like books in bulk, I think. And they do that and then they sell them on their Bookaholics Outlet, like not for much more profit. But it's fun. It's fun to get on there. It's kind of like book shopping, but not leaving your house. And it's great. So I got a little bit of a haul from that. They do like monthly sales. So if you end up going to Facebook and joining the Bookaholics Outlet, you go let the owner know that Jennifer over at Enchanted Rose Books sent you. But I'm one of her, I can't say I'm one of her favorite customers, but I've been there for quite a while, so she knows who I am. But what she does also is in these mixed, you know, things that she gets for books, arcs also come in, but she limits it to only 1 arc per order. So even if you commented on 5 different arc posts, you're only going to get the first one that you would actually get. So I got The Weight of Ink by Rachel Caddish. I have never heard of this. I tried to read a little bit, but it's set in London of the 1600s and also early 21st century. But it's like it's a sweeping in scope and intimate in tone. It's a sophisticated work of historical fiction about women separated by centuries and the choices and sacrifices they make in order to reconcile the life of their heart and mind. So this sounds pretty neat. I can't wait to read this. I mean, of course, it has like a tear on it, but that's okay. I like getting books, and I didn't have to pay for that one because I bought other books. You have to do like a $25 minimum purchase in order to have the arc. So if you're first to comment on that arc, but you don't get $25 worth of books in the sale, you don't get that arc. So I like how she does that. So it wasn't necessarily free, but it was free because I didn't pay for that book specifically. So the next books that I got, I'll go ahead and share with you the two nonfictions that I picked up. I did pick up Columbine by Dave Cullen. So of course this is a work of nonfiction, and it kind of outlines, the investigation and the teenagers, that had done it and the people that were involved. And, I think it even has some, interviews with some of the people or the kids that were in there that witnessed things. So this is a very tragic thing in history, but with tragedy in that, we also want to know more, like, why did it happen? Could this have been prevented? Things like that. So that's why I like to read about things like this, not because I'm like, oh, that sounds like a great story. It's because I like to know more. I want to know more. So I got Columbine. And then, of course, if you know, you know, I'm a big Henry VIII fan. So I ended up getting the autobiography of Henry VIII, and it's by Margaret George. It, I think, goes through like his whole life. This puppy is big. There is like 927 pages in here, and these are like Bible thin pages. And actually, I think it's an older book too. When was this? When was this written? Oh, 1987. And it's a first edition. Hey. So anyway, I got this to add to my Henry VIII shelf because I will dive in and out of Henry VIII books all day long. Anything that deals with England from like 1460 to 1610, whenever it was like James Stewart the Third, I think, or whatever, who was on the throne after Elizabeth. From those time frames, I will read almost anything that deals with the Plantagenets, that deals with the Tudors, Mary Queen of Scots. I mean, you guys have no idea how much, not just like politics nowadays that was influenced by Henry VIII, but also how much what happened during there, like the War of the Roses, for instance. Like George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones, took inspiration from the War of the Roses. So, huge. If you guys want to, dive in and out of it. Go watch on Stars. They have the White Queen series. It's like a one-season thing. I think there's like 8 episodes, 10 episodes at max. You'll want to watch the White Queen, then watch the White Princess, and then you can dive right into the Spanish Princess season 1 and season 2, and then go over to, was it Showtime? I don't know. You can watch the Tudors series, which that series was made long before the White Queen, but it chronicles Henry VIII whenever he was with his first wife, and then all of his wives and what all happened and transpired. And of course, none of these shows are like historically accurate, right? But the big hitting things that happen are accurate. So I really like that. So definitely go watch those if you're ever interested in some drama. If you like the Real Housewives of wherever, if you like drama, definitely go watch those because it is drama. And it all real. Like, it all happened. So, it's pretty fun. Now, off of my rant. Let's talk about the last little bit of books that I got. So, a lot of these, I do not know what they are about. So, I just solely got them off of, I've heard about them, from so many people, or I've watched, booktubers read it and somewhat enjoy it, or the covers were beautiful and I decided I wanted to try it. So the first one is The Wide Starlight by Nicole Lesperance. I don't even know how to say that. Solely a cover pick. Solely. But I think I did read a little bit about this, and it's about like how her mother goes missing. So she, like, looks up at the night sky or whatever, and, like, she finds her mother again, I think. It's something to do with the stars and all of that. So I'm pretty excited. So you have that. And then I don't even know which one is first, second, or third, okay? But I'm just going to hold them up. I got After the Game by Abby Glines, Losing the Field by Abby Glines, and also Under the Lights by Abby Glines. So I don't know what is first, second, or third. Don't Miss How It All Began. So I guess I don't have the first one until Friday night, which actually, I think I did just buy until Friday night. It's probably even in my picture here, and I can't even see. But anyway, I think I did buy until Friday night from one of the booktubers, Alexa Ray. She has a Pango Books account, and she'll post books on there whenever she's unhauling. And I picked up her copy of Until Friday Night. So I guess I have the whole series. So that's wonderful. Don't know what they're about. I met Abby Glines, but I've never read any of her work, so we're going to read it. This one was just a straight cover pick as well, which is called Winter Spell by Claire Legrand. Again, I don't know what this is about, but it's set in New York City, 1899. So that's pretty fun. I don't know what that's about. Then I also got Heart and Shadow by Amanda Hawking, which I guess it's a duology, the Valkyrie duology, and it's both books in here. It's Between the Blade and the Heart, and also From the Heart to the Shadows. And again, I do not know what it's about, but it looked pretty. I'm like, if it's 2 books in one for like, I think she sold it for like $6 or $8. I'll pick that up. And then I got The Golem and the Genie by Helen Wecker. Now, I don't even know what this is about either, but I have heard a couple booktubers that I watch. I think Becca in the Books actually either read this or had just hauled it like in the past 6 months, I think, or maybe a year. So, pretty excited. It's an intoxicating fusion of fantasy and historical fiction. So I'm pretty excited for that. I don't know what year it's kind of set in, but here's what's really neat about this. I really like these types of paperbacks because you have the, what are they called? Deckled edges, I think, you know? And then you also have it where it's like a hardback. I do like that. I don't even know what, struggling to make their way in 1899 New York. I think that I have a theme going on. Like 1899 New York. Here we come. And then the last 2 books that I got, again, this was another cover buy, and it's book 1 in the Skyfall series, and it's called Let the Sky Fall by Shannon Messenger. I think this is a YA book, but isn't that gorgeous? The second book is Let the Storm Break. And I don't know if this is a trilogy, if this is a duology, if this is a 4-book, 5-book series. I have no idea. But it's just beautiful. So we're going to give it a try. The last book I got, I tried to purchase this from her in her August sale. And she does this really cool thing. If they're not ARCs, if they're just regular like paperbacks or hardbacks, if you comment on there, even if someone else has already claimed that book, she will put it on a wish list for you and write your name down about what books you have. So if she ever gets any in, she will message you, you know, before the sale, like a couple weeks before, and she'll say, do you want to just buy it now, or do you want me to just add it to your sale? And I always have her add it to my sale because I'm buying books every month anyway. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I put this on my wish list with her, and she actually messaged me like 2 weeks after that happened and said, hey, I got a copy, and I said, put it on there. And that is The Second Mrs. Astor by Shanna Abay. I don't know how you say her last name, because it has the little thing above it, but anyway, it is a novel of the Titanic. So I don't know if this is a series like where it's portraying different people that were on the Titanic. However, what I'm really excited about this is not only does it have the whole thing about the Titanic in here and like what happened to the Astors, but it actually goes through how they met and also like their second honeymoon in Egypt and all of these things. So I'm pretty excited to read about it. It's not a very big book and it's not nonfiction. I mean, this is completely fiction. However, there really was a John Jacob Astor and there really was a Madeline Astor, who is, his wife, and they really did die on the Titanic. So they really were part of the Titanic. Actually, I don't know if she survived. Let me just correct myself. I don't know if she survived, but I do know that Mr. Astor did pass away. So he went down with the ship. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to read that. So that is all the books that I have hauled this week. I mean, there were more, from like my book boxes. I did get, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can pull you up there. If you see right here, can't even, I'm terrible at this. Anyway, those 4 books that are like cream and rose gold, those books are from Bookish Box, and they are the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. Funny story about that, if any of you guys are Bookish Box subscribers or purchased anything from them, you know how late they are. But I think it was like 2 years ago, I purchased the 4-book set. It came in. It was, instead of being rose gold, it was like bronze gold, and it was like a lot darker, which I didn't mind it. I thought it was beautiful as it was. But then you go through the book, and the author's name was like on every page, spelled incorrectly. There were pages that were turned upside down. There were pages missing. It was a whole disaster. And so they ended up, for free, doing an entire reprint of the series for every person that purchased the set. So I ended up just selling mine for under what I paid for them, like far under. But I, was like, hey, if you want the misprint editions, if you, there's mistakes, there's problems with them, but if you want them, I'll sell it to you for half of what I purchased them for, because I was going to get a new set sent to me for free. However, 2 years ago, I did not realize that, actually it may have been a year ago. So 2 years ago I purchased them. About a year and a couple months ago is whenever I got the first set. And then they said they were going to do a reprint like within 2 weeks of it, arriving to everybody. And we just now got the new set. So it's been like a full like over 2 years since we purchased them. So it's been kind of bad, but they're gorgeous. They're stunning. If you want to see what they look like, I am going to be posting a picture on my Instagram sometime soon. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. I do not intend on selling them. The downfall is, I think all 4 books in the original set that was messed up were all signed by Carrie Maniscalco. And these are all digitally signed. For me, that doesn't matter. I could care less if the author signs it. I could care less if they're digitally signed. I could care less if you, put your handprint on there. I could care less if you even do anything to it. I get it because of the gorgeous editions. I get it for the artwork. I get it for that. I don't get it as this author, signed this special edition, so now I can sell it for hundreds of dollars. I don't do that. There are people out there that do. I don't. So that's me. But I'm going to go and wrap up this video. I know that there was a lot of updates, like as far as my book hauls and what I've been reading, and I went kind of on some rants there. But if there's any books in this haul that you have read or that maybe you're intrigued in reading now seeing them, let me know below. Like I said, check out the description box, for my Pango Books account, for my Patreon, my Instagram, and my Goodreads. Also, make sure that you don't forget to like and subscribe and always comment on my videos. But I will see you guys next Saturday whenever I give you my wrap up of what I read, because busy season starts on Monday and we're going to see how that goes. So, hope everyone has a great weekend. I will see you next Saturday. Bye.